The vast emptiness of uncharted space stretched before the TSS Vindication like an endless canvas of possibilities. Commander Naomi Harrison stood at the bridge's observation window, her dark eyes reflecting the distant stars as the experimental human warship glided through the void. The ship's quantum drive hummed beneath her feet, a testament to humanity's latest technological achievement. "Commander, we're picking up unusual energy signatures," Lieutenant Jasmine Wong called from her tactical station. Her fingers danced across the holographic display, bringing up detailed sensor readings. "They don't match anything in our database." Harrison moved to the tactical station, her movements precise despite the ship's artificial gravity fluctuations. The energy readings pulsed on the screen like a distant heartbeat, drawing them deeper into unknown space. "Dr. Rivera, analysis." Marcus Rivera, the ship's chief scientist, studied the readings with intense concentration. His weathered face creased with curiosity as he adjusted his glasses. "The energy pattern suggests advanced technology, but it's erratic. Almost like a distress signal, but using quantum frequencies we've only theorized about." The bridge crew worked in focused silence as the Vindication approached the source of the mysterious signal. Engineer Raj Patel's voice crackled over the comm from engineering. "Commander, whatever's generating that signal is affecting our quantum drive. The harmonics are interesting." Before Harrison could respond, Security Chief Diana Reyes's voice cut through the tension. "Multiple contacts. Emerging from behind the third moon of the gas giant ahead." The viewscreen filled with sleek, predatory vessels, their hulls gleaming with an otherworldly purple sheen. They moved with impossible grace, surrounding the Vindication in a complex pattern that spoke of years of tactical experience. "First contact scenario," Harrison announced calmly. "All stations, defensive positions. Lieutenant Wong, keep weapons powered but do not target. Let's not start an interstellar incident." A harsh, grating voice filled the bridge, speaking in perfectly translated English. "Human vessel, you have entered restricted space. Your presence here violates Kraxan Empire law. Prepare for immediate boarding and processing." Harrison's jaw tightened. "This is Commander Naomi Harrison of the Earth ship TSS Vindication. We followed a distress signal. If we violated your space, we apologize and will withdraw." "Negative, human commander." The alien voice carried a note of cruel amusement. "Your species has been observed. Primitive, but useful. Your crew will serve the Empire well." Dr. Rivera's console suddenly lit up with new data. "Commander. I'm detecting multiple ships behind those warships. They're slave transports. Hundreds of life signs, dozens of different species." The revelation hit the bridge crew like a physical blow. They'd just stumbled upon something far darker than a simple territorial dispute. Harrison's mind raced through options, knowing her next decision would affect not just her crew, but humanity's first steps into the galactic community. "Sir," Wong reported, her voice tight. "They're powering up weapons. Energy signatures suggest electromagnetic pulse technology. They're trying to disable us." Harrison straightened her uniform, her decision made. "Raj, reroute power to the quantum shields. Diana, ready boarding defense teams. Dr. Rivera, I want everything you can tell me about their technology." "Lieutenant Wong." She paused, her voice carrying the weight of history. "Show them why humanity never stopped developing kinetic weapons." The Vindication's response shocked the Kraxan ships. While they expected their electromagnetic pulses to disable the primitive human vessel, the quantum shields absorbed the energy like a sponge. When the human ship responded, it wasn't with energy weapons but with hypervelocity tungsten rods that tore through the Kraxan's energy shields like paper. "Their shields are calibrated for energy weapons," Rivera exclaimed. "They've never encountered advanced kinetic weapons before." The battle was brief but decisive. The Vindication's weapons disabled the Kraxan ships without destroying them, a display of precision that seemed to confound the alien aggressors. As Harrison watched the enemy vessels drift powerless, she knew humanity had just been thrust onto a much larger stage. "Commander," Diana called out, her voice urgent. "The slave transports, they're sending us messages. They're begging for help." Harrison looked at her crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that she felt in her heart. They had trained to explore the unknown, to represent the best of humanity among the stars. Instead, they'd found an empire built on suffering, and their next actions would define not just their mission, but their species. "Send word to Earth Command," Harrison ordered. "Let them know we've made first contact, and that humanity has just joined a war we never knew existed. Then prepare boarding teams. We have people to save." As the Vindication moved to assist the slave transports, none of the crew could know they had just sparked a revolution that would reshape the galaxy. Humanity's first steps into the cosmic community wouldn't be marked by peaceful exploration, but by a stand against tyranny that would echo across the stars. 3 days after their first encounter with the Kraxan Empire, the TSS Vindication hovered near a massive space station that served as a regional slave processing center. Commander Harrison stood in the ship's briefing room, surrounded by holograms showing the station's structure. The intelligence had come from their newest ally, Zornthal, a former slave who had managed to preserve detailed technical knowledge during his captivity. "The Kraxan maintain 20 levels of holding cells," Zornthal explained, his forearm gesture emphasizing the scale of the facility. His crystalline skin caught the light as he moved, revealing the scars of his enslavement. "But their greatest weakness is their arrogance. They believe their technology makes them invincible." Engineer Raj Patel nodded as he studied the station's power systems. "Their whole infrastructure is based on energy weapons and shields. They never developed countermeasures against physical attacks because they thought kinetic weapons were primitive." Dr. Rivera manipulated the hologram, zooming in on the station's core. "The interesting part is their quantum communication array. It's far more advanced than their other systems, but the design suggests it wasn't originally theirs. They steal technology," Security Chief Reyes concluded, her tactical mind already forming plans. "They enslave species, take their innovations, and use them to enslave others." Lieutenant Wong pulled up weapons analyses on her tablet. "Their over-reliance on energy-based systems makes them vulnerable. Our railguns can punch through their shields, and they have no defense against our boarding tactics." Commander Harrison absorbed the information, considering their next move carefully. The Vindication had already freed 3 smaller slave transports, but this station represented a much bigger target. Success here would liberate thousands, but failure could alert the entire empire to Earth's existence before humanity was ready for a full-scale war. "We've received the data package from Earth Command," Harrison announced. "They're mobilizing the fleet, but it will take weeks for reinforcements to reach us. Until then, we're on our own." Zornthal's crystalline features shifted in what they'd learned was an expression of determination. "My people waited centuries for someone to challenge the Kraxan. We can help you fight them. Many slaves maintain their ships and stations, they know how to disable systems from within." Dr. Rivera's eyes lit up with sudden inspiration. "Commander, what if we didn't just free the slaves? What if we armed them? The Kraxan's energy shields are useless against projectile weapons. We could manufacture simple railguns using the Vindication's fabricators." "A slave rebellion?" Reyes considered the implications. "If we coordinate it right, the confusion could cover our main assault." Harrison walked to the tactical display, studying the station's layout. "Raj, how quickly can we modify our boarding shuttles to mask their signatures?" "Give me 6 hours," Patel replied confidently. "I can make them look like routine maintenance pods on their sensors." The plan came together quickly. The Vindication would create a distraction while Reyes led teams of Marines to key points throughout the station. Meanwhile, Zornthal would coordinate with the slaves inside, preparing them for revolt. The operation began at Station Dawn, when shift changes would provide maximum confusion. The Vindication appeared suddenly from behind a debris field, its quantum drive allowing it to skip past the outer sensor perimeter. Lieutenant Wong's precision shooting disabled the station's main weapons before they could even power up. Inside the station, chaos erupted as Reyes's teams breached multiple points simultaneously. Armed with specially designed kinetic weapons, the Marines encountered little effective resistance. The Kraxan guards, accustomed to energy weapons, found their shields useless against old-fashioned bullets. Security systems are down, Patel reported from his position in engineering. The slave workers did their part, they've completely scrambled the internal sensors. Dr. Rivera monitored the quantum communications. The station commander is trying to call for reinforcements, but I'm blocking their signals with our own quantum interference. They're blind and deaf. The Liberation moved deck by deck, with freed slaves joining the fight using weapons dropped by fallen guards or provided by the human Marines. Zornthal led a group of former technical workers in seizing the station's control center, their intimate knowledge of the systems proving invaluable. Commander Harrison coordinated from the Vindication's bridge, watching as decades of Kraxan dominance unraveled in hours. Multiple ships approaching, Wong reported. They're not Kraxan vessels, they're prisoner transports responding to our broadcast. They're asking for help. The battle for the station became a beacon, drawing more ships crewed by slaves who seized control upon hearing of the rebellion. By the time the last Kraxan guards surrendered, the station had become a rallying point for resistance against the Empire. In the aftermath, Harrison met with Zornthal and representatives from 12 different species in what had once been the station commander's office. The former slaves were eager to join forces with humanity, offering knowledge of Kraxan space and technology in exchange for weapons and training. This is only the beginning, Zornthal warned as they planned their next moves. The Empire controls thousands of worlds. They will respond with everything they have once word of this reaches them. Harrison looked out at the fleet of liberated ships gathering around the station. Then we better make sure we're ready. Earth won't stand alone in this fight, and neither will your people. The Kraxan Empire is about to learn that underestimating primitive species was their biggest mistake. As the impromptu coalition began fortifying their position, news of the successful rebellion spread through hidden slave communications networks across Kraxan space. The message was simple: freedom was possible, humanity had proved it, and the fight was just beginning. Deep within the liberated station's archives, Dr. Marcus Rivera studied holographic data streams with growing amazement. 2 weeks had passed since the station's capture, and each day brought new discoveries about the true nature of the Kraxan Empire's technological foundation. Commander Harrison, you need to see this, he called out, his voice carrying an unusual edge of excitement. The station's former slave processing center had been converted into the rebellion's command hub, where Harrison coordinated with their growing fleet of freed ships. Harrison approached the holographic display, where complex technical schematics floated in the air. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" "The impossible," Rivera replied, manipulating the display. "These quantum communication systems the Kraxan use? They're not just stolen technology, they're artifacts from a civilization that vanished 50,000 years ago." Lieutenant Wong joined them, her tactical mind already considering the implications. "Are you saying there's even more advanced technology out there somewhere?" "Not just somewhere," Zornthal interrupted, entering the room with Engineer Patel. The crystalline being's movements had become more confident since the liberation. "We've found references in the archives to something called the archival stations. The Kraxan have been searching for them for centuries." Patel pulled up his own data on the display. "That's not all. I've been analyzing their ship designs. The Kraxan didn't just steal technology, they barely understand what they're using. It's like giving Renaissance engineers a smartphone. They can use some functions, but they don't grasp the underlying principles." Security Chief Reyes entered with her own report. "We've got movement on the Empire's response. They're mobilizing their main fleet, but they're moving slower than expected. Our intelligence suggests they're afraid of damaging the ancient tech they depend on. Harrison studied the tactical display showing Kraxan fleet movements. Their liberation of the station had sparked rebellions across 3 sectors, with freed slaves using their knowledge of Imperial systems to seize control of ships and smaller facilities. But the core of the Empire remained strong. "Commander," a new voice called out. A tall, ethereal figure glided into the room. It was Venare, a member of a species known as the Archivists, rescued from the station's high-security section. Their species had been particularly prized by the Kraxan for their natural ability to interface with ancient technology. "The Kraxans' greatest weakness isn't their reliance on stolen technology," Venare explained, their voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate with the station's systems. "It's their fear of what they don't understand. There are secrets about the ancient technology they never dared to explore." Rivera's eyes lit up with understanding. "The quantum harmonics we detected when we first encountered them, that wasn't just a distress signal, was it?" Venare's skin rippled with patterns of light. "It was a key, designed to be recognized by those who understand the true nature of quantum mechanics. Your ship's drive system accidentally resonated with it. That's why they were so eager to capture you, they thought you might understand the ancient systems better than they do." Harrison leaned forward, her mind racing with possibilities. "Can we use this knowledge against them? Turn their own stolen technology into a weapon?" "Better," Patel interjected. "We can combine it with our own innovations. Their energy shields can't stop our kinetic weapons, but imagine our railguns enhanced with quantum technology. Or our quantum drive modified with their ancient systems." Wong pulled up combat data from their previous encounters. "The Kraxan rely on technological superiority to maintain control. If we can prove their technology isn't as superior as they think, the entire empire could crumble," Reyes finished. "Every enslaved species would realize their masters aren't all powerful." But Zornthal raised a warning hand. "Be careful. My people tried to rebel once, centuries ago. The Kraxan responded by destroying an entire star system to maintain control. They would rather burn the galaxy than lose their power." Harrison walked to the station's viewport, watching the growing fleet of liberation ships conducting combat drills. Earth's reinforcements were still weeks away, but they couldn't afford to wait. Every day brought reports of Kraxan reprisals against worlds suspected of supporting the rebellion. "Dr. Rivera, work with Venare and the other archivists. I want to know everything about these ancient systems. Raj, start modifying our weapons with any upgrades you can safely implement. Lieutenant Wong, coordinate with the freed ships, I want everyone trained on our combat tactics." She turned to face her crew, her expression resolute. "The Kraxan built their empire by stealing the past. We'll free it by combining that knowledge with humanity's greatest strength, our ability to innovate and adapt." As the team dispersed to their tasks, Harrison remained at the viewport with Zornthal. "Your people waited centuries for a chance at freedom. Why do you think humanity succeeded where others failed?" Zornthal's crystalline form reflected the starlight. "Because you are both more and less than the Kraxan expected. They sought a primitive species to enslave but found one that had developed in a completely different direction. Your quantum drive proves you understand the ancient principles, yet you never abandon simpler, effective technologies. You are living proof that their entire philosophy is wrong." Deep in the station's secure labs, Rivera and Venare made breakthrough after breakthrough, unlocking secrets the Kraxan had never dared to explore. The ancient technology responded to human innovation in unexpected ways, creating hybrid systems that surpassed both their original designs. But time was running out. The Kraxan main fleet was gathering, and their spies reported that the Empire's leadership had declared a single objective: the complete annihilation of humanity before their influence could spread further. The race was on to unlock enough ancient secrets to counter the Empire's overwhelming numbers. As Harrison reviewed the latest intelligence reports, she knew they were approaching a turning point. Either humanity's innovative spirit combined with the ancient technology would open a new chapter in galactic history, or the Kraxen would ensure there were no more chapters to write. The space around the Kraxen throne world sparkled with the energy signatures of over 1,000 Imperial warships. On the bridge of the TSS Vindication, Commander Harrison watched the tactical display as the combined Liberation fleet moved into position. The reinforcements from Earth had arrived just days earlier, bringing advanced weaponry and fresh troops. Their fleet formations are exactly as our intelligence suggested, Lieutenant Wong reported, her hands moving across the tactical controls. They're protecting their flagship with layered energy shields, all calibrated against energy weapons. Engineer Patel's voice came through the command channel. The quantum hybrid systems are ready, Commander. The ancient tech has been fully integrated with our kinetic weapons. Even I'm not entirely sure what they'll do when we fire them. Dr. Rivera stood beside Venare at the science station, monitoring the complex quantum readings. The archivist predictions were correct. The Kraxen are using their entire quantum network to coordinate their fleet. It's their greatest strength. And their greatest weakness, Venare finished, their bioluminescent patterns pulsing with anticipation. They've linked every ship through the ancient systems. One disruption could cascade through their entire network. Security Chief Reyes's voice crackled from her position aboard one of the Earth reinforcement ships. Ground teams are in position on 3 neighboring worlds. The slave populations are ready to rise up on our signal. Harrison took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. The combined fleet under her command represented 12 formerly enslaved species fighting alongside humanity. The next few hours would determine if the galaxy remained in chains or found a new path forward. This is Commander Harrison to all ships, she broadcast. You all know what's at stake. The Kraxen believe their stolen technology makes them invincible. Today we prove that true strength comes not from what you take, but from what you build together. Execute Operation Thunderbreak. The Liberation fleet split into 3 prongs, moving with precision that the Kraxen hadn't expected from such a diverse force. Humanity's tactical innovations had been shared across the fleet, creating a fighting force that combined the best of each species' capabilities. Enemy fleet is responding, Wong called out. They're moving to engage our center force with, something's wrong. Their movements are sluggish. The coordination we saw in previous battles isn't there. Zornthal, watching from his advisory position, chittered in satisfaction. The slave crews. Even those who couldn't openly rebel are doing their part, introducing tiny delays and errors into the systems they maintain. The battle erupted across space as the Liberation fleet engaged the Kraxen armada. But this wasn't the same kind of combat the Empire was used to. The hybrid weapons created by combining human innovation with ancient technology produced effects that defied traditional defense strategies. Railguns enhanced with quantum properties fired projectiles that existed in multiple states simultaneously, passing through energy shields as if they weren't there. Imperial ships found their sophisticated targeting systems confused by simple chaff clouds that had been treated with quantum resonance fields. Their network is destabilizing, Rivera reported excitedly. The quantum cascade is working. Their ships can't coordinate their actions anymore. Harrison watched as the carefully orchestrated plan unfolded. While the main battle drew the Empire's attention, smaller ships slipped through the chaos-carrying teams of Marines and freed slaves. The Throne World's orbital defenses, designed to stop energy weapon bombardments, proved useless against teams of commandos using simple explosive charges. Ground teams reporting success, Reyes transmitted. Slave populations are rising up across all 3 target worlds. Imperial forces are being overwhelmed by sheer numbers. The Kraxen flagship, a massive vessel shaped like a twisted spiral of dark metal, finally moved to engage directly. Its command crew, the elite of the Empire, couldn't comprehend how their perfect system was failing. Incoming transmission from the flagship, Wong announced. It's Admiral Kriax himself. The Imperial Admiral's hologram appeared on the bridge, his aristocratic features twisted with rage and disbelief. "What have you done?" he demanded. "How dare you turn our own holy technology against us?" "Holy?" Harrison replied calmly. "There's nothing holy about slavery, Admiral. Your empire didn't create this technology, you stole it. And you never bothered to truly understand it because that would have meant admitting you weren't superior to everyone else. We brought order to chaos." Kriax shouted. "We unified the galaxy under proper leadership." "No," Venare stepped forward, their presence causing the Admiral to recoil. "You brought stagnation. The ancients left their technology as a gift to all species, to help them grow and learn together. You turned it into chains." The battle reached its climax as the hybrid weapons took their toll on the Imperial fleet. Ships began surrendering in groups as slave crews seized control. The flagship itself found its weapons neutralized by previously unknown properties of the ancient systems, properties that human scientists working with the archivists had discovered through open-minded exploration. "Final command groups are surrendering," Wong reported. "The Throne World's orbital defense grid is under rebel control. Ground teams report the Imperial Palace has been secured." Harrison looked at the tactical display, watching as thousands of years of tyranny crumbled in a single day. "Send word to all ships and worlds. The Kraxan Empire has fallen. But our real work is just beginning." As celebration erupted across the Liberation Fleet, Harrison met with her core team. They all knew that toppling the Empire was only the first step. Now they had to help a galaxy of freed slaves learn to live together without chains, to build something new from the ashes of oppression. Humanity's first steps into the galaxy didn't go quite as planned, Harrison mused, watching the cleanup operations begin. "We came looking for new frontiers and found a war that needed fighting." "Perhaps that was the right way," Venare suggested. "The ancients believed that true wisdom comes from facing great challenges. Your species proved itself worthy not by conquering, but by helping others break their chains." The quantum sensors suddenly lit up with new signals as more ships arrived, vessels from dozens of species that had been watching and waiting, coming to join in building whatever would come next. The galaxy was changing, and humanity had helped light the way forward. 1 month after the fall of the Kraxan Empire, the former throne world had become a center of frantic activity. The TSS Vindication orbited the planet, now serving as a neutral meeting ground for dozens of newly freed species. Commander Harrison stood in what had once been the Imperial Audience Chamber, now converted into an emergency council room, watching representatives argue over the future. "The Silthari worlds demand immediate control of all former Kraxan military installations in their sector," a Serpentine delegate hissed. "We suffered longest under their rule. The installations were built by slave labor from all our peoples," countered a representative of Zornthal's crystalline species. "They belong to everyone or no one." Dr. Rivera entered quietly, bringing Harrison a data tablet. "The situation in the outer sectors is deteriorating," he murmured. "Former Imperial commanders are trying to establish independent fiefdoms. They're exploiting old rivalries between freed species." Lieutenant Wong appeared at Harrison's other side. "Earth Command is concerned. Some of the freed worlds are already developing weapons using the ancient technology. There's talk of preventive action." Harrison closed her eyes briefly, feeling the weight of unexpected consequences. The liberation had succeeded beyond their wildest hopes, but victory had brought challenges no one had prepared for. Former slaves were settling old scores, and power vacuums were creating new conflicts. In the station's technical section, Engineer Patel worked with mixed teams trying to maintain crucial infrastructure. "The quantum network is destabilizing," he reported via comm. "Too many groups are trying to modify it for their own use. If it collapses, we'll lose faster-than-light communications across half the galaxy." Security Chief Reyes's voice added to the stream of problems. "Another riot on Outpost 7. Former slaves attacking former overseers. My peacekeeping teams are stretched thin. Harrison watched the council chamber dissolve into multiple heated arguments. The very diversity that had made their victory possible now threatened to tear everything apart. Venare approached, their luminescent patterns showing concern. They fight because they've forgotten how to do anything else, the archivist observed. The Kraxen didn't just enslave bodies, they enslaved minds. Teaching people to be free is harder than breaking their chains. A sudden commotion drew everyone's attention. A group of former Imperial scientists had entered the chamber, led by a young Kraxen noble who had helped the rebellion in its final days. The ancients foresaw this, the young Kraxen announced. We found records in the deepest archives. The quantum technology wasn't just meant for communication or power, it was designed to help different species understand each other. Rivera's eyes lit up with understanding. The quantum resonance patterns, they're not just data transmission. They can carry emotional context, cultural meaning. That's why the technology responds differently to different species. Harrison stepped forward, her voice cutting through the chaos. Listen to me, all of you. We didn't fight to replace one empire with a dozen smaller ones. We fought for the freedom to choose a better way. She activated the chamber's holographic systems, displaying the galaxy with all its interconnected quantum networks. Look at what the ancients built. They created technology that becomes stronger when different species work together. They wanted us to unite not through force, but through understanding. Easy words from a human, one delegate scoffed. Your people weren't slaves for generations. No, Harrison acknowledged. We weren't. We entered this fight by choice, because we couldn't stand by and watch others suffer. Now we're choosing to stay and help build something new. But we can't do it alone, and we won't do it by force. Patel's voice came through again, excited this time. Commander, we found something. When multiple species access the quantum network together, voluntarily, the efficiency increases exponentially. It's like the technology was designed to reward cooperation. Venare moved to the center of the chamber, their bioluminescence creating patterns that resonated with the quantum fields. The Kraxen found this technology and saw only power. They never understood its true purpose, to bring species together, to help us learn from each other. But understanding has a price, Harrison continued. We all have to face hard truths. Earth must accept that we can't control how other species use this technology. Former slaves must learn to forgive if we want to move forward. Even the Kraxen who choose to help us must work to rebuild trust. Security Chief Reyes reported in again, but this time with different news. The riot on Outpost 7, the former slaves and overseers are talking. Really talking. Something about the quantum fields affecting emotional resonance when they tried to access the station systems together. Over the next several hours, the council chamber transformed. Arguments didn't stop, but they changed. Species began sharing their stories, their hopes, their fears. The quantum network, properly used, helped translate not just words but cultural contexts and emotional meanings. It won't be easy, Harrison told her crew later. We're looking at years of work to build trust, to help people heal, to create new systems that protect freedom without enabling chaos. But it's worth it, Wong added, watching the delegates begin the hard work of building real cooperation. This is what humanity can offer, not just our technology or our weapons, but our experience in working through differences. As the day ended, Harrison received a message from Earth Command. More ships were coming, but not warships this time. They were bringing scientists, diplomats, teachers, and engineers. Humanity had chosen its role in the galaxy, not conquerors or saviors, but partners in building a future where freedom meant more than the absence of chains. 6 months after the fall of the Kraxen Empire, the TSS Vindication approached a massive structure hidden in deep space. The ancient station had remained dormant for millennia until the combined quantum signatures of multiple species working together had awakened its systems. Commander Harrison stood on her bridge, surrounded by a crew that now included members of 6 different species. "Status report," she ordered, watching the mysterious structure grow larger in their viewport. "The station's quantum signature is unlike anything we've seen," Dr. Rivera reported, working alongside Venare at the science station. "It's responding to our presence, but it's waiting for something." Lieutenant Wong, who now led a mixed-species tactical team, monitored the defense readings. No weapon signatures detected. The station's systems appear purely scientific in nature. Engineer Patel's voice came through the comm, excitement clear in his tone. "The hybrid drives are resonating with the station's quantum fields. It's like they recognize each other." The discovery of this ancient facility had come at a crucial time. Despite progress in building cooperation between freed species, tensions remained high in many sectors. Some feared that without a dramatic breakthrough, the fragile peace might still unravel. "Multiple ships approaching," Wong announced. "Friendly signatures. The Coalition Council representatives have arrived." Harrison watched as vessels of various designs took position around the Vindication. Each ship carried leaders and scientists from different species, all drawn by the promise of what this ancient station might reveal. "The station's responding to our combined presence," Venare observed, their bioluminescent patterns shifting rapidly. Just as the legend suggested, it waited until multiple species chose to work together. Security Chief Reyes, monitoring from her position coordinating the Joint Security Fleet, reported in. "All sectors secure. Former Imperial holdouts are maintaining their distance. They're watching, but not interfering." The station's exterior suddenly came alive with patterns of light that matched Venare's bioluminescence. "It's not just a research facility," the archivist breathed. "It's a library, a teaching center. The ancients left it to guide future civilizations that proved ready to cooperate." As if responding to Venare's words, the station projected a massive hologram visible to all ships. It showed the galaxy as it had been 50,000 years ago, when multiple species had worked together to create the quantum technology that the Kraxan would later steal and misuse. "They weren't perfect," Rivera noted, studying the historical data now streaming to their screens. "They had their own wars, their own failures. But they learned from them. They left this knowledge for others who could prove they'd learned the same lessons." Harrison turned to Zornthal, who had become her most trusted advisor. "Your people kept hope alive through centuries of slavery. What do you see in this discovery?" The crystalline being's facets caught the light from the ancient station. "I see tomorrow. The Kraxan thought they were the inheritors of the ancients' power, but they never understood. The true inheritance was meant for those who could set aside dominance and learn to work together." The station's doors began to open, revealing docking bays sized for ships of various designs. As the coalition vessels moved into position, more data streamed to their computers, not just scientific knowledge, but philosophical insights, cultural preservation techniques, and templates for cooperative governance. They didn't want to create another empire, Harrison realized. They wanted to ensure that when different species finally came together, they'd have the tools to do it right. The next several days were a flurry of discovery and cooperation. Scientists from dozens of species worked together, each bringing unique perspectives that helped unlock more of the station's secrets. The quantum technology they'd been using was revealed to be only the surface of what was possible when species combined their knowledge. But perhaps more important than the technological discoveries were the social ones. The station provided frameworks for resolving conflicts, for preserving cultural identity while building unity, for ensuring that cooperation didn't mean conformity. 1 month later, Harrison stood in the transformed council chamber on the former throne world. Representatives from every known species, including reformed Kraxan factions, were voting on the formation of a new coalition. Not an empire, but a mutual support network backed by both ancient wisdom and new innovations. "The hard work is just beginning," she told her crew as they watched the proceedings. "Building trust takes longer than winning battles. But for the first time, everyone's truly working together." Dr. Rivera nodded at the quantum displays showing cooperation spreading across the galaxy. The ancients knew what they were doing. They didn't give us answers, they gave us tools to find our own way forward. And humanity's role in all this? Lieutenant Wong asked, watching ships of different species conducting joint training exercises. We do what we do best, Harrison replied. We innovate, we adapt, we bring new perspectives. We help build bridges while respecting differences. We're not leaders of this coalition, we're partners in it. As the Vindication prepared for its next mission, now carrying a crew from 15 different species, Harrison reflected on how far they'd come. Their accidental discovery of the Kraxan Empire had led not just to liberation, but to something far more precious, the beginning of true galactic cooperation. The quantum networks pulsed with activity as knowledge and understanding flowed freely between worlds. Former slaves and former masters worked to heal ancient wounds. New discoveries were shared rather than hoarded. It wasn't perfect, and challenges remained, but for the first time in millennia, the galaxy was moving forward together. Ready for quantum jump, Wong announced, her console now modified to accommodate inputs from multiple species. Take us out, Harrison ordered. Tomorrow's waiting. The Vindication disappeared into quantum space, carrying with it the hopes of a galaxy learning to be free, not just from chains, but from the fear and distrust that had forged them. Humanity's first steps into the galactic community had helped break an empire of slavery. Their next steps would help build something far greater, a future where different didn't mean divided, and where strength came from working together.